Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Zems, and welcome to another. We're going to be picking back up with the Rotten Mangoes series, 13 deaths around Diddy, 9 victims of City College incident, Tupac and Biggie, Kim Porter, and more. If you haven't already, make sure you swoop down that description box, click on a link and watch this video in entirety, because I'm going to be pausing, stopping, and talking through the whole thing. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Zems, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. Man, make sure you guys stop by and go check out the last 2 videos, man. It's been getting crazy and intense, out-of-pocket stuff.
May 7th, 2012. Machine Gun Kelly makes a tweet. That tweet reads, okay, so I just saw a picture of Eminem's daughter, and I have to say, she is hot as in the most respectful way possible because Eminem is king.
It wasn't
The
respectful
problem
at
with
all.
this tweet at that point in 2012 is that Eminem's daughter would have been 16 years old at the time. And then nothing happened from this tweet. For about 5 years, nothing happened. There were no repercussions. There were these little whispers and interviews that MGK does that allude to the idea that perhaps Eminem was unhappy with that tweet. And perhaps Eminem was trying to blackball him from the industry because of that tweet.
What did you say about his daughter that got him so mad?
Yes.
What did you say?
You know what I said.
That she's hot.
She's hot.
You have to admit you was out of line for that.
These are just internet rumors. These are celebrity gossip. It's not until 2018 that it gets confirmed. These two do not like each other. In 2018, Machine Gun Kelly drops a song called Rap Devil. Now, this is very interesting because it's a play on words. If you guys know anything about Eminem's discography, one of his most famous, well-known songs, it's called Rap God. So for Machine Gun Kelly to drop Rap Devil, it's clearly a hit on Eminem. Once you read the lyrics, it gets even crazier, and these two start dropping diss tracks against each other, and we're not here to talk about MGK and Eminem. It's just that as they're releasing these diss tracks, there is one name that keeps popping up in all their songs. Diddy.
The Diddler.
Sean Diddy Combs. In Rap Devil, MGK raps about how he signed with Bad Boy Records, and the lyrics read, "Why are you claiming that I'm going to call Puff when you're the one that called Diddy? Then you went and called Jimmy." Jimmy is a guy that runs Interscope Records, which MGK is also part of. "They conferenced me in the morning, and they told me that you was mad about a tweet. You wanted me to say sorry? I swear to God, I didn't even believe him. Please say it's not so. The big bad bully of the rap game can't take a fucking joke." He's basically saying, hello world, Eminem was so mad for the past 6 years, so mad about this tweet from 6 years ago that he called both my record label bosses, Diddy, who owns Bad Boy Records, and Jimmy, who owns Interscope Records, to bitch about it. But that's crazy because he's the big bad wolf that can do anything, right? So he can do anything but take a joke? To which Eminem releases a diss track titled Kill Shot, where he makes many disses towards MGK, but again, we're not here to discuss that. We're here for Diddy. He makes a reference for Diddy in that song as well. The lyrics read, "But Kels, the day you put out a hit is the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed." Eminem, in his song, whether he is serious or it's just creative liberty, he has just now accused Diddy of murder. But at the end of the song, Eminem says, "And I'm just playing, Diddy. You know I love you."
You know what they say, whenever it's a joke, it's a little bit of truth behind it somewhere, somehow. But it's not as technical or as accurate as we would like to believe. But if people are saying they bringing his name in it, you know they're throwing subliminals like underneath, you know, the rap lyrics and all that stuff. But who knows, man, you know? These days, you just can never be too sure.
Diddy never made a public statement about Eminem's lyrics, but sources that were close to Diddy said he was furious. He was pissed off. So what the hell does this all mean? If he's not joking, that means Eminem truly just accused Diddy of killing one of the biggest names in the rap world, Tupac? But that was in 2018. Nobody was focusing on Diddy. Nobody was focusing on these lyrics. They were so caught up in the diss tracks between MGK and Eminem, and the fact that Kill Shot was one of the most viewed videos within 24 hours of releasing. Some people picked up on it. They thought it was clever, but again, it doesn't make mainstream news like that. Until 2024. This year, Eminem releases yet another song called Fuel, and this time it's in your face. The lyrics read, "I'm like an RAPER, got so many essays." Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P, did he?
Oh.
Rest in peace, Biggie. and Pac, both of y'all should be living. But I ain't trying to beef with him because he might put a hit out on me like Keefe D get him.
Whoa, when was this?
A few months ago. Now, in a 3.5 minute song where Eminem is rapping at an unhumanly fast speed, it might be hard to realize, especially if you don't know many of the people that he's referencing. I mean, the R-A-P-E-R, that one is very obvious. He's calling P. Diddy a raper. But the next part, he's talking about two rappers that were murdered, Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac. They were both related to Diddy. One he saw as his main competitor, and the other one he saw as this money-making machine for his label.
I would say that the competitor was Tupac, and then the money-making machine was Biggie. That's what I would say, but I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section which one you thought he was talking about. But also the other album, I don't know if you guys seen it, but it was called The Death of Slim Shady. Weird that he would name it that and then say something like that about Diddy. So does he believe that he's going to put a hit out on him, or it just happened to, or it's just a coincidence and that's what he happened to name his album? So I don't know.
And within 6 months of each other, both of them were murdered. There are new allegations surfacing that Diddy might be responsible for both, which a lot of people find it very easy to believe considering that Diddy has a past of people dying around him. This is part 3 of the Diddy case, where we cover the 13 deaths closely linked to Diddy and all the supposed evidence there might be linking him to those murders. Do you know one of Diddy's biggest songs?
No.
It's called I'll Be Missing You. When it was released, it hit #1 on the Billboard's Hot 100 charts for 22 consecutive weeks.
Have I heard it?
Which is kind of insane. The lyrics read, "Every day I wake up, I hope I'm dreaming. I can't believe this shit. I mean, I saw your son, he looks just like you. You will always be the greatest. You'll always be the greatest. I miss you big." The chorus of the song goes, "Every step I take, every move I make, every single day, every time I pray, I'll be missing you. Thinking of the day when you went away, what a life to take, what a bond to break, I'll be missing you." This song is probably the song that many people think of when they want to really resonate with lyrics of losing someone. It's often played at funerals. It's about missing someone that's gone too soon. The whole thing was technically taken, actually, this whole song, from Sting's Every Breath You Take. He took a sample of that song and he just rewrote the lyrics without receiving the proper permission. Sting actually gets 100% of the royalties for that song to this day, but that is besides the point. It was probably one of the most pivotal songs during that time, and it was a tribute to his fallen friend, Notorious B.I.G.
Big Papa.
It actually won him a Grammy. But the wild thing is, in 2024, if we live in a world where some of the conspiracies turn out to be true, that means Diddy would have written this song as a tribute to the man that he may have helped kill and sang it alongside the wife of the man that was murdered. This is the Diddy connection to Tupac and Biggie and their murders that everybody suspects Diddy was involved in. This particular elevator ride is taking a lot longer than normal. This is way back in the day. Typically to go up 8 floors, it would take about 48 seconds, but this is feeling like a lifetime.
That's crazy.
When Tupac gets up to the 8th floor, he can't even feel anything. His whole body is numb. He says, "When I got upstairs, I looked around and it scared the shit out of me." He sees standing there Biggie, Notorious B.I.G., famous rapper, alongside 40 other guys, including Sean Diddy Combs. They were all there working on a new album titled, interestingly enough, Conspiracy. Then one of the guys there bursts out crying, "Oh my God, Pac, you have to sit down, you have to sit down." Tupac said, "I was feeling weird, like why do they want me to sit down?" It's like nobody wanted to approach him. He says, "I noticed that nobody would look at me. Diddy was standing back too, and I knew Diddy. He knew how much stuff I had done for his artist Biggie before he came out." Whatever was said, or rather not said in that room, would solidify everything. Because in that cramped room, Tupac is practically alone, having been shot 5 times. Twice in the head, twice in the groin, once in the hand. And he has a feeling that one or a few people in that room have something to do with it. He was shot in the lobby of a studio. He hides in the elevator, takes the elevator up to the 8th floor, and there's Biggie, Diddy, and all these other artists on the east side.
He just got shot?
Just got shot. He's bleeding out.
By himself.
And no one wants to approach him, according to Tupac. And it was in that moment that he felt someone in that room had something to do with this shooting, Diddy and Biggie. And perhaps he was right, perhaps he wasn't right, but within 2 years, Tupac would be dead.
Do you know who shot you?
No, I don't know who
No.
shot me.
So does that mean that you also have no idea why they shot you?
No, I have no idea why they shot me. It's like anybody's guess. I don't know. I don't really.
They shot him because he was going to be a threat. I think they shot him because he wasn't down with whatever it was they were trying to do. And they were like, yeah, we got to get rid of him. That's why they said one of them was his biggest threat. I think Tupac was his biggest threat. Tupac just seemed like he wasn't going for any of that. You know what I mean? People would say that Diddy was closer to Biggie than he was Tupac. So I don't know. Maybe Biggie ended up eventually doing it. Maybe they met to another disagreement and he had to take out Biggie too. You know what I mean? Maybe he couldn't jeopardize losing Biggie. Maybe Biggie was about to go start his own thing or go somewhere else. And Diddy was like, I'm not having that. We already went through this the last couple of episodes where he threatened so many people beforehand. If they don't listen to him, he's going to get his way. So let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. Curious to see what you guys have to say about it.
We like to talk about it.
There is a conspiracy out there that Tupac Shakur, one of the biggest artists of all time, that he's more actually commonly referred to as a cultural phenomenon than a rapper, has faked their death. That's the conspiracy. Tupac is alive. He's faked his death. He's out there. He's just watching all of us.
What?
This is the conspiracy that he's still alive. So if you know anything about Tupac, a lot of people might have wanted him dead. The vice president at the time, Don Quayle, who served under George W. Bush, he would state about some of Tupac's music, there is absolutely no reason for a record like this to be published. No reason at all.
Time Warner's a subsidiary, Interscope Records, withdraw this record. It has no place in our society.
Why? I mean, some would say because Tupac would release songs that served as social commentary. He was trying to enact change. One song is titled White Man's World. Notable lyrics read, one thing they ever did wrong was being born black in this white man's world. Being born with less, I must confess, only adds to the stress. Proud to be black, but why we act like we don't love ourselves. Don't look around, check yourself. Know what it means to be black, whether a man or girl. We're still struggling in this white man's world. We must fight for the countless political prisoners who are locked up falsely by the white man. He names prominent activists who fought for black rights. The government did not like this song. For a long time, Tupac was actually on the FBI watch list.
What?
Crazy.
Now, it's really hard to summarize who Tupac was, and obviously nobody is defined by their career, but Tupac is different. He had a lot of intense views, and I say intense to highlight that it was intense for him. It was not smooth sailing for him to say these things, because they might be considered normal right now, but the things that he was saying like 20 years ago, back then, he's making people uncomfortable. He's making the FBI uncomfortable. So all that's to say, he's very ahead of his time. He's saying things like, I would have to change the world, or I have to be changed by the world. In an interview, he once said, this world is such a world, and when I say world, I mean it. I don't mean it in an ideal sense. I mean it every day, and every little thing you do. It's such a gimme, 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 everybody back up. You get taught that from school. Every business, you want to be successful? Gimme, 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 push, push, step, step, crush, crush. That's all it is. Nobody ever stops. There's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting the lotto for $36 million, and then we got people starving on the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. I mean, that is stupid. There's no way. There's no way that these people should own planes when there's people that don't have houses.
I believe that 100%. Like I be saying, like I love sports, I love NFL, all that stuff, but there's no way one human being should be getting paid $250 million to throw a football when you got people losing 10, 12 hours of sleep, saving lives and doing surgeries and running into burning buildings and saving. There's no way. There's so many other jobs that deserve higher pay. They don't get teachers. Pay the teachers more. Get more teachers. Teach the kids, man. Like, I'm a firm believer of that too. Like, I get it. It's entertainment, but give first responders and everybody else, like military, doctors and all them, give them higher pay. Like they should be the ones making millions. That stuff is hard to do.
I think that if they earned it, that's good. I think that they deserve it. But even if they still own it, they still owe it. He's known for being very, very vocal about the state of the world and what it means to be black and successful, but still feel indebted to the communities that you started from.
I don't fit in. That's hell. It's hell when you can't be around your peers. All my life I grew up around black people, poor people, but I can't live around poor people now because they'll rob me. And why would they rob me? Because they're starving, because there's no money here. But they're telling me now that I made a little money, I have to move here. So it's not like no one's ever trying to deal with this section. They're just moving away from it. And we got more stars coming from the ghetto, but they're gonna all move this way. All the society is doing is leeching off the ghetto. I don't want to be another I don't want to be 50 years old at a BET We Shall Overcome Achievement Awards. You know what I'm saying? Not me.
Wait, he mentioned 50-year-old BET award?
Yeah, exactly what Diddy received.
Whoa.
To the point where Tupac had a lot of people who did not like the way and the things that he spoke about. They said, yeah, we would rather him not speak, like the vice president at the time.
Because he's real.
And
He's
he
being
would
honest.
say a lot of interesting things that I think ring true today. He would say things like, the government is the mob. Like, that's the mob. I want to read the books that Clinton is reading because he does the same shit that we do, that I do, but he doesn't get in trouble for it. He says, I think this country still runs on gangs. Republicans, Democrats, the police department, the FBI, the CIA, those are gangs. Even the correctional officers, which, side note, Tupac, he comes from like a line of activists. His mother was a prominent activist. She was part of the Panther 21, part of the larger Black Panther Party. Tupac was speaking at Black Panther Party rallies since he was 17. He's also had quite a notable personal life as well. I think a lot of younger people might know this part of him more than the activist part of him, which is sad, but you get it. He's been romantically linked with Jada Pinkett Smith. I believe they've known each other since high school days. I don't know if they dated per se, but they were really close. Jada Pinkett Smith liked to call them soulmates, and it was a whole thing. Wow. By the time that they were ready to date, allegedly, she was already dating Will Smith. He wrote about it in a book, talking about how he would never live up to Tupac. Because he's Tupac, and he's just the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Tupac was also linked to have dated Madonna briefly.
Really?
The two of them kept it a secret. It was recently in the news because one of the breakup letters that he had written her before his passing, it went to auction for over $100,000, and it was this whole ordeal. Madonna tried to stop it. She's like, that's my private life. That's my romantic life. Why is that letter going up for auction? Who okayed this? Turns out her former personal assistant had gotten rid of a bunch of her stuff. This was included in that stuff. The judge allowed the auction to go forward.
Wow.
The assistant was selling her love letter?
I don't know if they were selling or if they had just gotten rid of some clutter in the house and thought that this was clutter. But it seems a little nefarious. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
don't quote me on that.
Nefarious.
Now, side note, in an interview from jail, Tupac had nothing but amazing things to say about Madonna. He did some not so nice things to her, said some not so nice things to her because he felt like he was a big Black Panther type of guy and she's white. Even though she's shown him nothing but love, he never felt like he could date a white woman.
That's
and he
whack.
said that he felt really, really bad because once he went to jail, he called her. She was the only one of that level, of that stature that was willing to help him, which shortly after prison, he would be the one to say, my mama always used to tell me, if you can't find something to live for, then you best find something to die for. And he would die shortly after prison at 25 years old. There have been allegations throughout the years to keep this theory, conspiracy theory, that he's still alive, if you will. People were reporting from all over the world. I saw him in New Mexico. I saw him in South Africa. And then Tupac's former bodyguard states, I know the truth. The truth is, Tupac is alive and has escaped to Cuba. He states that Tupac has been smuggled into Cuba with the help of Fidel Castro himself. Which, side note, this is not a random connection.
I know.
Tupac's aunt is a political activist that is living in Cuba right now as an American fugitive. So he does have connections. He says, I have definitive proof. As his former bodyguard, I helped him fake his death. He's alive, he's in Cuba, and I'm gonna show you that proof in a few days. I mean, this feels like the real deal. Surely, this is like his former security detail.
Dies.
This is not some
Watch.
random person on the internet that's
killed
like,
him.
I saw Tupac when I was vacationing. But right before he's gonna release the evidence, he dies.
It's a common theme, man. I'm telling you guys. Even back then when the Epstein case was going on and he was getting ready to talk, what happened? Died. You can't say stuff like that on TV. Like the time that one dude was like, oh yeah, I just found out how to make the car drive with water. Well, there you go. You're out of there, boss. If you find out something, you got an idea and you feel like it might jeopardize businesses, you might as well keep it to yourself. because they are not going to let that happen. I'm telling you right now, when they're ready for it to come out, they'll let it come out. But if you figure it out before them, go ahead and kiss it goodbye. They're going to try to buy it for you, or they're going to tell you to forget about it. You guys think he's in Cuba? I mean, his mom is in Cuba. She's wanted right now, or his family member, I'm sorry, that's wanted is in Cuba. It's not far-fetched. I mean, it could. I mean, people have fake deaths before. Some of these people that was like considered like missing for years, and they just knew they were missing but didn't want people to know where they're at. So, I mean, it's not unheard of.
He dies.
How?
Nobody knows. And then a year later, he comes back from the dead and releases a YouTube video. He says, "My name's Michael Neese. I faked my death on the 18th of December. I'm here today, back from the dead, to show why and how I faked my death. I'm gonna put the record straight. I confess I faked my death and I feel quite ashamed about it, but it had to be done, and I'm here to explain the reasons why." He argues that he had to fake his own death because he had to prove that he has the capabilities to help Tupac fake his death.
That's fair.
What in the world?
Yeah, he alleges that he has audio and video of Fidel Castro confirming that he sanctioned Tupac's move to Cuba. But the evidence has still yet to be publicly presented. People are skeptical about his claims now, but it has fueled the conspiracy that Tupac is still alive and well. And there's so many things to this theory. Yes, there's the reported sightings in New Jersey, Boston, Wall Street, LA, but there's also in his posthumous album that he did under Machiavelli, the lead single is called Hail Mary, which shows Tupac quite literally rising from the earth to murder all of his enemies. Now, the explanation here is he has all these unreleased music videos, these unreleased records that are now slowly getting released, but people thought it was weird. He's talking about rising from the earth to murder all of his enemies. Also, the album Machiavelli is a play on the word Machiavelli, the political philosopher. Apparently, he studied him extensively while he was in prison, and he was particularly a fan of the book The Prince, which some people have interpreted one of the lessons in there, one of the strategies for general principles of deception by Machiavelli, to be faking your own death to control and fool your enemies. Some people went as far to rearrange the letters in Machiavelli because he could have spelled it differently for copyright reasons, because Machiavelli and Machiavelli are spelled differently. But also, what if it's an anagram for am, alive, K? What does K mean? K is a friend of his named Casanova the Don, which he might want to reassure that he's alive.
Why was he in prison?
Oh, we'll get there. It's a very complicated issue. Side note, he actually releases a lot more music posthumously than he did when he was alive. And in one of the songs, you hear the lyrics, "Expect me like you expect Jesus to come back. I'm coming." People thought it was strange. Then in another song he sings, "I heard the rumors I died, murdered in cold blood, dramatized. Pictures of me in my final state. You know my mama cried, but that was fiction. Some coward got the story twisted." Furthermore, the way the unreleased songs, when they were released, they always sounded with the times. They always sounded modern, if you will. Now, some argue that's because the way they cut and pieced together, remastered the song to be with the times, but still.
But why would he be faking his own death for?
Because
Just
it's
hide it
not
from
just
Diddy.
the rap world that was missing Tupac. He was on the FBI watch list for being a political activist. And then it all comes full circle in 2024 when a book gets published alleging to be Kim Porter's memoir that we talked about in the previous episode about the horrors that she allegedly faced being Diddy's longtime girlfriend before she died. This supposed memoir is published on Amazon under the name Jamal T. Millwood, which is one of the many names that people believe Tupac is living under as his alias because he's still alive, is the theory.
Yo, if he
There
comes
are
back,
a
can
few
you
things
imagine?
that you should never do during a bail hearing? One of them is probably lashing out at the prosecutors. It's probably advantageous to not point at the prosecution team and say, "These two dudes right here, they're not only ugly on the outside, they're ugly on the inside too." September 2023, a man named Dwayne Keefe D, that's his nickname, Davis, gets arrested for the murder of Tupac. He's part of the Compton Crips. Evidently, he likes to call himself the Compton Street Legend. That's also the title of his memoir.
You say last year?
Last year, like decades later.
This guy got arrested for murder. of Tupac.
Yes, for killing Tupac. Decades later, he gets arrested and he's pointing at the prosecution team, calling them ugly.
They're not only ugly on the outside, but they ugly on the inside too.
You're like, what does this have to do with anything, right? Well, Dwayne Keefe D, gets arrested, and just like the case in episode 1 of Jonathan Odie, after his arrest, he starts saying some very interesting things. He starts singing to the authorities, and honestly, he had been singing to the public, to the documentaries, in his own memoir for years, that perhaps a certain someone had put a hit out on Tupac, worth
Diddy.
7 figures, $1 million. Kill Tupac, you get $1 million. Now you do the math. What kind of person has that kind of money to take down another person? The police don't have to guess, because Keefe D tells them Sean Diddy Combs.
He says Sean Diddy hired him?
Yeah.
Paid him $1 million to kill Tupac?
Well, that's the thing. He killed Tupac. Well, he wasn't the guy that pulled the trigger, but they did it. They killed Tupac, and Diddy still didn't pay him. And he's very upset about that. He says that he still, to this day, never received payment, and Diddy owes him big time. Now, this is very intriguing because this was just last year. He was arrested before all the allegations came forward about Diddy. Tupac was killed back in 1996.
I was 2 years old. Dang, man, that's crazy. 2 years old when my boy Tupac was taken, or apparently taken. I don't know. What side are you guys on? Are you on the conspiracy side, or you guys actually believe he got it right? Because, I mean, dude said Diddy was supposed to pay him, and he never paid him. Like, who goes out and does a hit without like upfront payment to begin with? You know what I mean? I guess he thought just because Diddy is Diddy, he's gonna do it. I mean, like, why he doesn't care. He threw Shine under the bus. You think he's gonna really like pay you later on? But then again, I came afterwards, I believe. But dude has always been shady. He's just a shady dude. I think everybody knows he was shady, but that was crazy. I want to find out what it is that he said to him, or maybe if there's any proof, because if he had a stunt double or somebody take his spot, then it's possible. So I don't know.
Is there any new evidence or supposed evidence linking Diddy to their murder? According to a new lawsuit filed October 15th, 2024, a few weeks ago.
Last year.
I don't know when you guys are seeing this. Ashley Parham, she's going public with her name, and Ashley said that she was sitting at a bar when this guy next to her named Shane calls Diddy on FaceTime. He FaceTimes Diddy. She said this was back in 2018. Now, this happened, according to her lawsuit, in 2018, but she is just now filing the lawsuit along with all the other victims.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
And this is related to
Tupac.
Tupac.
Yes.
Okay.
He FaceTimes Diddy, and this is like around the height of the MGK and Eminem diss track, but I digress. The court docs are publicly available online. I'm telling you what she alleges in her document, but again, do your own research before you form an opinion. Everyone is innocent till proven guilty in the court of law. People have unfortunately lied before on court documents. I'm not saying that she's lying, but I'm also saying don't take it from me. Like, we have to see how it plays out in the court of law, legally speaking.
Yeah.
The document alleges Ashley is sitting at the bar with Shane. Shane is trying to brag. He's trying to get those brownie points for FaceTiming Diddy, the Sean Combs. It's kind of icky, you know, the way he's allegedly trying to impress people by having a famous friend. Let's just say Ashley is not impressed. The initial ick of like, ugh, you're doing this right now? Calling your famous friend, but also it's Diddy. Ashley states out loud that she's not impressed, especially because she always believed Diddy had something to do with Tupac's murder. Because there were rumors back then.
Right. And this Sean guy is just a random friend?
Shane.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Random guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Diddy's still on the FaceTime, mind you, and he makes a passing remark that Ashley's gonna pay for that comment. He hears her say, oh, I never really liked Diddy because I always thought Diddy was involved in Tupac's murder. And he's like, you're going to pay for that. Which, okay, I mean, how? The next month, Ashley gets a call from Shane, the guy from the bar. And he explains that he has cancer. Could you please come over because I'm having a hard time opening my medications. I'm in this weakened physical state. And yeah, she goes over because who's going to say no to that?
The diddler trap.
She goes over, she opens his medications, helps him, and the two of them turn on a movie when out of nowhere, the main door to the apartment slams open, and allegedly, in comes Diddy, his bodyguard, and his chief of staff, the woman that has been compared to Ghislaine Maxwell in lawsuits and by netizens. The way Diddy walked in, as described in the lawsuit, was like ready to party. But it just feels maniacal. because nobody's trying to party with him. He allegedly gets into Ashley's face and starts taunting her. Oh, you never thought you were actually gonna see me, did you? In that manner is how it's described.
That's
but
crazy.
She still has to pay for what she said about Tupac during the FaceTime, doesn't she? Diddy allegedly grabs a knife, puts it up to Ashley's face, and threatens to give her a glass glow smile. Retaliation for her for what she said about Tupac. She states that the chief of staff allegedly tells Diddy not to because then they can't sell her. She threatens her, the chief of staff, the AKA second Ghislaine Maxwell, that they could easily just ship her off anywhere into the world and they would never see her again. Her family would never see her. Nobody would ever know.
That's crazy. So this is a trap from the beginning?
Yes. So the call from Shane is allegedly, according to the lawsuit, a trap.
What? She's not dating this guy either.
No.
She's just being nice to help him.
It seems like maybe they are forming like an acquaintanceship.
Wow.
She alleges that Diddy puts the knife down, takes off all her clothes, and starts squirting this oil liquid that he just takes out of his large fanny pack all over her. This is the very strange part, but allegedly Diddy and his chief of staff spend a bit of time trying to insert an IUD into Ashley, which if you know, an IUD is like a copper metal T-shaped device that you stick into your cervix so that you don't get pregnant. Getting an IUD from a doctor is probably one of the most painful experiences that some people have ever had, to the point where there are conversations about why are there no anesthetics as an option for patients. I mean, it has to go into the uterus. Some parents have stated it's worse than childbirth. One person said, "My soul left my body. I saw a white flash of light." I'm not even being dramatic. It was the most painful thing ever. And these people are getting it done at medical facilities. And these people allegedly trying to stick an IUD into her have presumably no medical experience. Eventually, they stop. The chief of staff, along with another one of the entourage, they leave. But there's still two other of Diddy's entourage there. So it's Shane, Diddy, and two of Diddy's entourage. 4 guys there that she had never met other than Shane. She's naked, she's terrified, and allegedly Diddy grabs a TV remote from nearby and violently essays her with it. While he's doing that, he's allegedly scathingly telling her that her life is in his hands. He could do whatever he wants to her. He could take her so that she's never seen again. The lawsuit alleges that she was already in pain from the IUD assault when Diddy throws her over onto her stomach and allegedly instructs Shane. Again, these are all allegations you can find online. I wasn't there to tell you definitively if this is how it happened and if this happened. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but these are quite specific allegations. Now, Ashley states in the lawsuit that Diddy tells Shane to put a pillow over her head. He's sick of her hearing her crying. The next instruction is Diddy tells Shane to allegedly essay Ashley anally. She states it was gang essay. First Shane, then Diddy, then John Doe 2, and John Doe 1. She doesn't even know the names of these people that were gang essaying her. John Doe 1, before he even essays her, she said that he grabbed a bunch of baby oil, gets it all over her, and gets on top of her to use her like some sort of, quote, slip and slide. But due to how big his allegedly enormous stature was, the wind gets knocked out of Ashley. And she noticed the whole time Diddy was recording the assault while self-pleasuring. She also notices someone's phone had fallen off near the bed. She tries to reach for it to call for help, but the massive amounts of baby oil everywhere, it slips out of her hands. To which the lawsuit alleges Diddy found this quite hilarious. He also kept commenting that he owned her now. Ashley, in her attempt to leave, somehow ends up in the backyard where they're all smoking. So after they're done, they just go to the backyard allegedly and smoke like nothing happened. Now, at this point, again, allegations, Diddy asks her in a very strange, probably even more terrifyingly friendly way, "Why haven't we partied together before? You're so much fun. I haven't had ass that tight in a while." One of the guy allegedly laughs and states, "Yeah, because you only have anal sex with men."
Oh.
Which everyone laughs, but Ashley, she does not entertain them. She tells them this was not partying, this was rape. Diddy allegedly did not like that. He offers her money and tries to convince her that she's a sex worker and that this was consensual. Ashley allegedly loses it, telling him that she's not a sex worker and she's going to the police. He threatens her that her whole family is going to be harmed if she does anything like that. She states that at this point, Diddy calls someone and that person picks up a FaceTime and they're outside of Ashley's sister's home. And then he allegedly does the most bizarre thing. He calls his own mom, Janice Combs, who allegedly starts yelling at Ashley that she's just like a sex worker saying all these crazy things. She better not go to the police and hurt her son. But the craziest part is, a whole fight breaks out. One of the Entourage essayers did not hear the comments that she had made about Tupac. And when she brought that up again, he pulls a gun out and points it at Diddy, allegedly. Because he's like, you killed Tupac?
Wait, she mentioned that right now in that?
Yes.
And then one of the guys just pulled a gun out on Diddy.
Yes. And Ashley alleges that she took the knife that she had been hiding to defend herself. Everyone starts running. A neighbor comes out to investigate. Shots are fired into the fence. Ashley grazes Diddy in the stomach with a knife. More shots are fired. Ashley and a neighbor are taking cover behind a car. They make it to shelter in another neighbor's house where they state they called the police. Ashley alleges that the sheriff came, but after taking her statement, they didn't call her an ambulance. They didn't take her to the hospital. They didn't even offer to help her to get her clothes or phone from Shane's residence. Eventually, Ashley goes home, unsure of what to do. She did spend the night at Shane's, which is a lot of thing that netizens have been pointing out. Like, if you were that scared, why did you stay? But of course, that's like a crazy question to ask, right? Now, eventually, Ashley goes home.
Not being inconsiderate, I don't think that's a crazy question to ask. I don't know. What do you guys think down in the comments? It's just, if he sets you up, I just think that's kind of weird. Or you're going too far now. I told you all the other stuff that happened, but me answering, why did I stay, is just too much for me.
She's unsure of what to do. The first call that she makes in regards to this appears to be a few days later. She calls her primary care doctor asking for an HIV and STD test. She just didn't think anyone would believe her if she called the police because they already called the police, according to her allegations, and they did nothing. Side note, I do see some netizens calling this story so intense that it almost feels over the top,
like
right?
A movie.
But other netizens have been pointing to Lil Rod, which we covered his lawsuit in the last episode. He was a producer that worked with Sean Diddy Combs for his 2023 album, the Love album. And he talks about how he has a head of security that can make things go away because he has lots of connections to law enforcement. For example, we're going to talk about this in the next episode, but there was at one point in the recording studio, Diddy, Justin, and another guy allegedly, according to Lil Rod, get into a fight. Diddy, Justin, and the other guy go to the restroom. Justin Combs, his son.
Oh.
Yeah, Diddy's son. They go into a restroom, shots get fired, and the guy ends up shot in the stomach. Now, this actually did happen, but Diddy and Justin allegedly told everyone, hey, just tell everyone we were on the other side of the studio and we weren't there. We don't know who shot him. And they never got investigated for it. And Lil Rod is alleging that it's because his head of security has a lot of law enforcement connections. A lot. Who knows? I'm not saying those two things are related. I'm just saying these are what netizens are bringing up when people are saying, I don't know, this lawsuit sounds really over the top, right? And it's also so oddly specific that a lot of netizens are like, I mean, how do you make up such oddly specific things?
Yeah.
You know? But again, I don't know. I wasn't there. She states in the lawsuit she didn't call the police again because she already told the police, and now what? She just wants to get tested. And the crazy thing is she's just terrified. Her family is in danger. So days after the assault, she sees Shane, the guy that called her over, set her up, the guy from the bar, driving around in a new car. She believes that he got paid for that.
Wow. Is her identity out with the lawsuit?
She stated that she didn't want to hide her identity, which a lot of victims are hiding their identity, and I think it's totally understandable, right? But I think she just really wants people to see that she's, you know, definitely a lot of netizens are saying it adds more water to her claims.
More credibility, yes.
It's not until a few weeks later that Ashley presumably feels brave enough to go somewhere about it. She goes and does an essay kit at the hospital, ultrasound, x-rays. She lost a substantial amount of weight in the past few weeks because of the trauma. The police are contacted once more at the hospital, but this time she doesn't name Diddy because she's scared. That's the part that makes her sound crazy. Like, oh, sure, yeah, an A-list billionaire did that to you? Sure. She names Shane. She says there's two other guys. She doesn't know their names. And she thinks in the lawsuit it's stated, she believes that the footage is likely somewhere on body cam footage for both police incidents. The day that it allegedly occurred and the day at the hospital. Even the day of the incident, it must be somewhere, right? Now, the next month, May 2018, Ashley says that she seeks assistance from therapists. She tries to have her therapy appointments covered by victim compensation funds, but then she's told that there's no law enforcement agency with an active investigation into her report, meaning she can't get free therapy because there's no active investigation. She's not a victim. So she's like, wait, what? This is confusing. The lawsuit states, quote, Ashley asked police for a copy of her report from the Walnut Creek Police Department on July 19th, 2018. Plaintiff, Ashley, was provided a letter from the police department stating that it was, quote, unable to furnish this information as it is confidential and not subject to public release. But she's not public. She's the victim in this case. Mm-hmm. But they allegedly refuse her a copy of her own police report where she's the victim.
You can do that? I thought FOIA.
I thought you could, like, FOIA.
There's a few legal barriers. So they're saying that this is strictly confidential. So I would imagine that they're telling her, hey, you got to get signed off by all the parties involved. To
what
get
about
this
the doctor's notes and stuff?
Which has happened before in cases.
What was the results?
The Contra Costa County Sheriff did make a statement that reads, a report was taken March 23rd, 2018. We take these cases seriously and detectives thoroughly investigated the accusations. It was later determined that the claims were unfounded. So they're just saying like, yeah, we did take reports, but they're not real.
Cap.
Like the claims were unfounded.
Wow.
Now, just to reiterate, a civil lawsuit does not mean that this is the truth and that Diddy will be found guilty in the court system. Some netizens state, bullshit, more gold diggers with these lawsuits. But most netizens, from what I could see, believe Ashley. They state all of that just because she said Diddy had something to do with Tupac's death. Now, that is absolute confirmation to me that yes, he is indeed guilty of Tupac's death. Another comments, this just doesn't stop getting worse. To which someone responds, oh, I'm just going to imagine they're going to get a lot more worse. Which it does appear to be that way, because now with Tupac being brought up in association with Diddy, all of Diddy's past is seeing the light of day. And it's a lot. 33 years ago, Puff Daddy at the time, aka Diddy, was going to host a fundraiser for AIDS at the New York City College, where you would just pay $20 to watch celebrities play basketball. Boys to Men, Run DMC, Jodeci, Heavy D, Big Daddy Kane. It was rumored that Mike Tyson was going to be there. This is a huge event.
Mike
Nearly
Tyson?
5,000 people show up to the gym. The problem being, the maximum capacity in that gym is half of that. Less than half of that, and nobody knew how to turn away the crowd. Around 6 p.m., the crowd manages to break through the exterior doors, but there's another set of doors that you have to get through to get into the gymnasium. They break through the first exterior doors, and the crowd surges so much that they bend a lamppost near that door. And they just want to get in. They've been waiting here all day. What do you mean? Some of us have tickets. Some of us were told that you're still selling like half the tickets at the door. Why have we been standstill in the same spot in the line for like all day? 5 hours. They break through the exterior doors and they start running down the stairs. They just need to reach one more set of doors to get into the gymnasium. Once they get down, those doors are locked. So you have a bunch of people squishing into this downward stairwell, trying to push up against these doors that are locked. These are the doors that lead into the gymnasium. And there's people behind the stairwell trying to push into the stairwell because they don't know that the door is locked. Not only that, even if someone realizes what's going on and they walk over the doors and they unlock the doors, you're not going to have people coming in because the doors have to be pushed into the group of people piled. It opens into the stairwell. It does not open into the gymnasium. It opens into the stairwell. But there's no room in the stairwell right now. Nobody at the top knows that. They're all pushing into each other. One person said, everyone was so close together, you felt you could not breathe because of the weight of people pressing on your back.
What was that one video we watched with Rodney Mango and everybody was at the Halloween thing and the like festival in the street and everybody was like pressed together. People were like suffocating in the crowd and dying and people were getting trampled and stuff. Like, it's insane, man. That was a really, really sad story. It's somewhere on the channel. I can't remember what it was. I didn't know you could die like that. You know what I mean? I thought, you know, it'd probably be uncomfortable for a little bit, but I did not know how, like, the science behind it, how much pressure and all that stuff could cause your chest to kind of like get to the point to where you can't breathe, you get lightheaded and you passed out, and to the point how you can be so packed as sardines to the point where it's just like you can be dead and still be standing because of how pressed you are together. And it's like they're holding you up. It was, oh man, that was scary. I think it was Itaewon or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but it's somewhere on the channel.
Everyone's screaming at each other, get back, get back. People are not taking it seriously. And even the ones that are, they can't move back because people are pushing into them. Finally, after 15 minutes, the doors to the gym almost basically pop off. Everyone starts spilling into the gym. The people who had been standing near the doors that had been getting squashed the most, now they're practically getting trampled on by the people behind them trying to get into the gym because they also can't breathe. In that moment, someone comes onto the intercom and tells them, the game is canceled because 3 people have died. You gotta leave.
Inside the gym, are there people? A lot of people?
I would say that they alleged that it was at around 40% capacity at that point already.
Oh, inside the gym is still empty at this point.
Yes, but they couldn't let people in because how do you stop them from coming in? And then they're going to reach over capacity. So they never really unlocked those doors. They just waited till they popped off. Which then they come on the intercom and say, hey guys, 3 people died, y'all need to go home, which ensues another round of pure panic because what do you mean 3 people died? How did they die? Some people know about this stairwell, some people don't. One person said people started running, people are pushing each other down, people on the bottom were getting trampled, people jumped off the bleachers and were crushing each other. People are trying to leave through the same door that people had just been crushed in minutes ago, trying to go up the stairs now to leave.
You could actually hear when somebody died because you would hear and then you wouldn't hear anymore.
When the medics finally arrive, they said it was a state of chaos.
Scary.
One medic says, we had to break through the crowd when we reached downstairs. It's like an avalanche of people just trampling on top of each other. It was like a plane crash without a plane. I had a guy with a broken neck and I had to haul him over to the wall to avoid both of us being trampled on. One person at the event said, at one point there was a rush inside, and that's when you just saw bodies dropping. People were getting trampled. We were just chest to chest for hours. We could move a few steps an hour, that's it. Another woman at the event stated that before she left for the concert, she had put a tangerine in her pocket of her leather jacket. She had plans to eat it before, but she never got that chance. She said, when we finally got out of there, I reached into my pocket and there was nothing left but the skin of the tangerine. It stained my lovely jacket, and I kept that jacket as a reminder for years. 9 people died, and 29 people were injured that night. The 9 people that passed, according to the chief medical examiner at the time, the victims were 15 to 28 years old and had died from being asphyxiated. They were, quote, squeezed from the front to the back. There was no criminal trial, but Diddy was later asked to explain himself. And he states he knew something was wrong when, quote, as it started getting dark, we had to shut the doors because the line got so disorganized out in the front. He states that eventually the police came in through the back door and he was telling them, look, there's way too many people out there, we need help. But according to Diddy, the police just leave. They don't come back until an hour later, which is already too late. Everybody's piled in the stairwell trying to get in. He says it was just an impossible situation. There was no way for them to be allowed in. There was already 40% capacity inside the gym. And yeah, you could let in a few more people, but it was chaos. He claims anybody who got caught outside with tickets, we were gonna refund their money. We just didn't want to take the chances by opening the doors back up. But people start pushing from the outside and the doors just popped, snapped off the hinges, and people just start pouring in. They tore the doors right off the hinges. People started jumping down the staircase. People started piling up on top of each other, and glass started breaking and the doors, and people were getting scared and running, just pushing, and it was pressure. Then all of a sudden, I'm on the other side of the door, pulling people through into the gym so that we could open some of the other doors. But
it's crazy the lengths that people go to see people. I get it, you're inspired, but like all those people just to go see people. We're all people. We're normal. You know, like Chris Brown is normal, Rihanna is normal, A$AP Rocky, whoever it is that you may like, they're just regular people that are on camera with money. That's it. They all bleed the same. They talk the same. They have eyes and all that stuff. They have a life just like you. For a couple of people. All them people lost their life for nothing.
Even as we started pulling people in, more people were pushing through. We started screaming, get back, to back up. And like a few minutes later, we saw people passing out because the heat. We started seeing some scary shit. People's eyes were going back in their heads, and I'm thinking people could die out here. A big kid had gotten stuck in the door and we couldn't pull him through, or anybody else. The cops were being called, but nobody was coming, and I could just feel it. I was thinking, some of these people were dying or dead. People had started regurgitating. Nobody was trying to mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, so I started, and other people started. One guy that I knew, we were trying to revive him for like 45 minutes. He was throwing up in my mouth, but I didn't care. We were like, yo, man, you gotta live. We were pumping his chest and breathing into him, and I'm seeing my girlfriend bugging out because her best friend's there not breathing, and I'm trying to give her mouth to mouth, and I started to feel this feeling in the breath I'm getting back, that people were dead. I could feel the death going into me.
What? So he's the organizer
Yes.
of this event.
And he hired a bunch of associates who had no expertise. So there's a lot of people at fault. Diddy was definitely one of them, according to a judge, but the college was one of them for not having adequate safety measures.
Facts.
The police were also blamed for not
Facts.
having enough police detail at an event like this. But Diddy was also blamed for the fact that he wanted the biggest event in town, is what a lot of people believe. The ego got the better of him. He hired a bunch of people who have never, ever organized an event of this size, of this caliber, with all these names. Like, imagine you're like, I'm gonna go see all the top A-list celebrities at a celebrity basketball game for $20 at my local college. Think about that.
Yeah. He should have picked a
He
way bigger
says,
spot. He
later
has the
I
money
went
to do
home
it.
and I just kept saying to myself that it was all a bad dream, that I was gonna wake up, but I never woke
cap.
up. I never woke up. And the next day we contacted the police and the mayor's office, but people just looked at the flyer and saw my name and Heavy D's name and started blaming everybody. People saying whoever threw the event must have f***ed up. Press started drawing conclusions before the actual investigation. Which a few witnesses state, really now, Diddy? Because they don't recall any of that. One woman who thankfully made it out alive, she said she actually saw Diddy that night. She alleges he walked right past me after there was that big rush inside the gym. He didn't seem concerned about what was going on. He just wanted to get his stuff and get out of there. I never got the sense of remorse or accountability. Just like, let me get my stuff and get out.
Wait, what? How is he walking if there's so many people?
So it's mainly people stuck in that stairwell. Just stuck. They can't,
Oh.
even with the doors, it's hard to pull them out. Because the
Oh.
doors were like popping out. They weren't all the way open.
Okay, so everyone's jammed in this little stairwell, and he's like outside and just walking by.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna go home.
Oh,
Allegedly.
I'm gonna leave here.
Yeah,
now.
I'm gonna leave.
Whoa.
In fact, later in a 1993 cover for Vibe titled Puff Daddy, this is not a Puff piece. And I was just so confused. I didn't even know if this was real. It's real. He says, it wasn't the tickets that oversold, like people said. It wasn't the fire department's fault or the cops. It was just that overall, the Black community, there's a lack of self-love. The majority of these kids weren't necessarily going to put themselves in a situation they get hurt, but when it comes to loving their neighbors and moving back, they couldn't love their neighbors because they didn't love themselves.
What?
No way.
Which is absolutely one of the most unhinged ways I've ever heard someone describe a literal stampede, a literal surge, a crowd surge. That's not how physics works. And also, what the are you saying?
When was the stampede happen? Do you remember what year was it?
Oh,
You said 33 years
Because
ago?
Run DMC
Yeah, the
and all that's a
early
long
90s.
time
And
ago.
this piece was like years later.
yes, so he had time to reflect. There's a lot of even further allegations that I don't know if I can have an opinion about, but I'm going to tell you exactly what was said online and like the discourse that's circulating. So later it said that Diddy was all about uplifting the Black community. That's what he spoke heavily about, especially in 2023 when he changed his name to Brother Love. He was all about the Black community. And people that knew him, some sources, like a former bodyguard, allege he's just taken the cards out of Tupac. Like, he wants to be Tupac. Tupac
He'll
was
never
all about
be that.
uplifting Black people. But also at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like, this is what Diddy said 33 years ago. So I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he says things that he thinks people will like to hear.
Yeah.
The
I can
judge
see
ruled
it.
that Diddy was partly responsible. He will not be facing criminal charges, but could be, in fact, held liable in damages in a civil court. which, side note, he just settled the last lawsuit pertaining to this matter in 2000. So we don't know because most of them were undisclosed settlements, but he's been paying settlements throughout the years. The judge said, it does not take an Einstein to know that young people attending a rap concert camouflaged as a celebrity basketball game who have paid as much as $20 a ticket would not be very happy and easy to control if they were not allowed in, if they were unable to gain admission. A lot of people believe that it's just Diddy's inflated ego happening all over again. Now, side note, remember how this is allegedly an AIDS fundraiser? They promoted the event stating that it was going to help AIDS educational outreach program.
Yeah.
It's a questionable organization that is not a registered charity and is not known amongst anti-AIDS groups. So, and
Maybe.
anti-AIDS groups meaning like they're trying to help.
What if it was like one of his little things where he uses that money to do the unspeakable things that we're learning about right now in the video? I mean, if it's not an accredited place, then what is it? You know, what is that money going to? What are you raising it towards if it's not an accredited donated spot? So it's a lot of conspiracy, but with everything that's being said right now, it's not too hard to believe.
Many attorneys representing the victims said there was ample time to suspend the event, shut it down to prevent a tragedy. That decision was not made. Another victim's mother said all they really wanted from Diddy, because he was young at that point, was an apology. That's it. He allegedly resisted all accountability. The mother says, I want Sean to step up to the plate and say, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. That's all she wanted. Now, to be fair, he does offer an apology. You can be the judge of how remorseful he sounds. He says, I'm sorry for being the promoter of the event. I just pray for the families and pray for the children who lost their lives every day. You know, it's a tragic event and my heart goes out to the families. The families did not find him to be truthful. They said, I feel like he's just passing the blame instead of accepting responsibility. He's trying to cover for himself. He also states, City College is something I deal with every day of my life, but the things that I deal with can in no way measure up to the pain that the families deal with. One journalist who worked on the coverage of the college incident, they remember thinking, Puffy? Who the hell is Puffy? Who's this guy named Puffy Daddy? Puff Daddy? The event coordinator? He's a hip-hop producer? That's all they know about him so far, the journalists. They remember thinking, man, this Puffy guy can't have much of a future after this, huh?
Oh, are you saying like he wasn't that big back then?
Yeah, so all the celebrities like Heavy D, Run DMC, they were huge. But Puffy, like I said, he's not really a musician. He's like a producer. He's just a behind-the-scenes guy.
How? Where did he come from?
And it says
Who
organized
hired
by
him?
Puff Daddy. So the reporters are like, who the hell is Puff Daddy? Well, Puff Daddy's not going to have a future in this industry anymore. 2 years later, Puff Daddy would start his own record label, Bad Boy Records. Within 4 years of opening, the label sold nearly $100 million worth of records. People said there's just something about Diddy. He just has this way of being able to convince people that whatever he's doing or wherever he is, that's where you want to be. That is the hot shit. He is a master marketer. I mean, that is, you have to give him that. Like, just to give you a quick example, he was working on promoting two of his artists, Big, B-I-G, and Mac. But he has to give a bunch of journalists their music to sample because this was before streaming. So he has to give them CDs, mixtapes. He has to give them photos if they want to reprint him in magazines. He has to provide original copies of photos. So he created this Big Mac sampler. It looked like the McDonald's Big Mac packaging. And he would put in all their mixtapes and he would call it the Big Mac.
It's like a PR package.
Yes, before PR packages really existed.
So he was very creative in
Very
that.
creative. Someone who worked really closely with him once said, Puff was my young warrior. I could send him into the jungle and he would bring back the lion's head every single time.
He'll bring back baby
The company
oil.
sold over 500 million records, produced over 38 platinum albums, and won multiple Grammy Awards. That is Bad Boy Records. And
38
it would
platinum?
be the start of the alleged boiled egg test. In a recent interview with Chris Cuomo, someone very, very familiar to Diddy was being interviewed by Chris. He would tell Chris Cuomo, they used the boiled egg test. They used to take a raw boiled egg, had the guys pull their pants down at the studio, had them bend over, and then stick it up their bottoms.
What?
If the eggs break, that means they're not ready. They said they didn't put in enough work because this is Hollywood.
What?
That means they're still not loose enough in the back door. And that means they didn't put in enough work in Hollywood because the back door needs to be used. Yeah, this is a crazy allegation.
Yeah.
But you have to take the whole story with a grain of salt because, first of all, the claims, like I said, are allegations. They're unverified. Additionally, it's being said by a man named Suge Knight, Diddy's longtime rival and competitor.
Man, it's crazy.
The founder of Death Row Records in California.
Out of pocket, man.
Well, he's one of the founders. Death Row Records, at its prime, was making over $100 million per year. Bad Boy Records, we don't know exact numbers, but they're doing $100 million in record sales for 4 years. Death Row Records, $100 million per year.
Are they still around or no?
No, Snoop Dogg just rebought it because he was signed with Death Row Records. He was one of the most notable artists. So he's trying to revive it, but it did eventually go
over
bankrupt,
Dr. Dre?
They had some of the biggest talent signed onto their label at their prime. They had Dr. Dre, who was a co-founder, but also releasing and producing his own music, Snoop Dogg, MC Hammer, Outlaws, and eventually they would go on to sign Tupac while he's in prison. But we'll get there. Tupac was Suge's biggest talent. I mean, not just in terms of size, but in terms of potential. It is well known that Tupac was a poetic genius. He was literally into poetry. He took poetry classes. He would write poetry for Jada Pinkett Smith, and then she would retell it on Instagram. It was like a whole thing. Tupac is a different breed. He would rap about his beliefs. One of his most well-known songs, Change, the lyrics read, "I'm tired of being poor, and even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch. Cops give a damn about a pull the trigger, kill a, he's a hero. Give the crack to the kids, who the hell cares? One less hungry mouth on welfare. First ship them dope and let them deal to brothers. Give them guns, step back and watch them kill each other." He would say in an interview, if the church was taking half the money they were making and gave it back to the communities, we would be all right. If the church take half the buildings they use to praise God and gave it to the motherfuckers who need God, we would be all right. Have you seen some of the churches lately? There's ones that take up a whole block in New York. There's homeless people out here. Why do some of these buildings have gold ceilings? Why does God need gold ceilings to talk to me? Side note, Tupac clarifies he believes in God. He just doesn't agree with some of the organized religions where the heads of the communities hoard the wealth in this tax-free haven and don't give it back to the community.
I get what he's saying. It's just like a lot of false prophets out there, and it's a lot of people that use, church offerings and stuff like that for the wrong thing. So I get what he's saying, you know what I'm saying? This goes back to earlier, we were talking about all the athletes and all them people getting paid all that money. Throw a football when you have people out here that's actually struggling, not having their meal, and then you have veterans literally that fought in wars and stuff like that, got PTSD, are not able to get treatment and all kind of other things. They're just out on the street, just living on the streets and don't have anywhere to go, and it's sad. You give your life to the country and then they just don't help you. And you know what I mean? People will go and buy $300, authentic football jersey, but when somebody at the thing say, "Hey man, can I have $10? Can you buy me something to eat?" "Oh, I don't got it right now." You know what I mean? But like I said, it's, if you give from the heart. I'm not a big fan of people. I mean, some people actually do it just to spread the knowledge. They go and like, "Hey, today we're going to be doing this, giving back to the community." That's great. But when you see people all the time like, "Hey, we're going to be going out, we're about to be giving money to this person, that person," and it's just like, bro, you're just clout chasing right now. You don't like helping people. You like the returns you get, the views you get from helping people. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be on camera to give to people, but it is sometimes it's good to see the positivity behind it. But not everyone has good intentions when they're out doing it on YouTube. But yeah, but that's going to end it for today's video. If you guys want to see the next part, that's going to be uploaded tomorrow. Again, this video is by Rotten Mango, so if you guys haven't already, make sure you swoop down to the description box, click on the link and watch this video in entirety, because I was pausing, stopping, and talking through the whole thing. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Zems, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. Like I said, I am doing 1 hour videos because their videos are extremely long and I have to do other things and I have other stuff to attend to. So I'm going to be doing 1 hour videos until we get done with this series, and then we're going to go from there. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. If no one told you today, I love you.